Well, I guess you could finally kick off a UFC event when the boss is in town. Dana White, the president of the UFC, here in Vancouver for UFC 174 Saturday night. Thanks so much for doing this, by the way.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you again. There's never a dull moment, it feels like, whenever you're around. And, you know, I think the big story in mixed martial arts, maybe the best talker in the history of the sport, Chael Sonnen, abruptly retires after just a day after testing positive for 2 banned substances. There's a lot of moving parts to this. So from your perspective, what's your reaction?
Well, you know, I've always felt that if you had to take testosterone replacement therapy to continue to compete, you should probably retire anyway. You're probably too old to still be fighting. But testosterone was legal, and then the Nevada State Athletic Commission banned it. And now this is just the aftermath of it. You know, the stuff that he tested positive for, one of them is an estrogen blocker. So if you don't get on this after you get done with the TRT treatment, there's a lot of side effects. Men grow breasts is one of the side effects to this thing. So it's very complicated, and I'm just glad it's over. You know, TRT is behind us, and now it's illegal, and the only issues we had left were Chael Sonnen and Vitor Belfort. So these are the 2 guys, you know, once all this stuff is dealt with, it'll be out of my life forever.
What's this do to the sport, though?
What
does it do to the sport when something like this comes out?
Well, you know, it's
now you got to deal with this.
Yeah, you know, this is different. It's not like he got caught with these banned substances, you know, because he was trying to you know, enhance his performance. He's coming down off this stuff that was legal, and this is one of the other banned substances he was on is a fertility drug, because he just got his wife pregnant. So it's when you start the conversation, you say he tested positive for banned substances, like
Headlines
you said.
Look bad.
Right, and like you said, there's a lot of moving parts to this thing, but it's actually a positive. I look at this thing as a positive. We're getting this whole TRT garbage behind us.
Does this also show that, you know, for years people talked about wanting to see more random drug testing with mixed martial arts? Does this show that it's working?
Well, it's happening, yeah. I mean, and there's been tons of random tests that have come back negative, you know, but we knew this isn't a shock.
Talk about the ones that come up negative.
Yeah, exactly, and there's tons of those, but we knew this isn't some shock like, you know, we knew that these 2 guys are on TRT, and, you know, this is the aftermath of this whole TRT nightmare, which when they started banning it, I was like, thank God, you know, people, you know, even the athletic commission, the doctors, you ask anybody, everybody has a different answer. You know, that was one of the biggest problems with this thing. And I thought when it was over, it would be over, but no, there's a ton of aftermath, and we didn't see this coming.
When you look at almost every professional sport, I mean, the one thing that really sells a sport is a star. And whether it's Brady and Manning in the NFL or in any sport for that matter, you look at what's going on with the UFC, particularly the last year, even 2 for that matter. GSP out right now. Anderson the Spider Silva gone by the wayside. You just lost maybe the best salesman in fight history with Chael Sonnen. And even Brock Lesnar just up to 2 years ago. So is this a transitional time for the UFC, trying to create new stars?
Well, people have been asking me that question for a long time, because before GSP and Anderson Silva and Brock Lesnar, you had Chuck Liddell, you had Matt Hughes, and a whole laundry list of other guys. This is not only part of, you know, the UFC, it's part of sports. You know, Michael Jordan went away, Wayne Gretzky went away, and the list goes on and on.
Is it harder to develop? Is there a responsibility, or is there a sense that you have to develop stars faster because of the impact in this business?
No, it is what it is. You can't rush anything. You can't fabricate anything. You can't make anything just magically happen. Guys have to get in there and start creating a legacy. You know, however long they hold the title, because now we got Cain Velasquez, you got John Jones, and we have probably one of the biggest fights in UFC history coming up with Alexander Gustafsson and John Jones. Fight's going to be massive. Then we got Johnny Hendricks, who has GSP's title, and I don't think the 170-pound division has ever been more exciting than it is right now. At 155, you got Anthony Pettis, who's coming off an injury, and once this kid's back, in my opinion, this kid could, if he can stay consistent, could probably be the pound-for-pound best in the world. You got Jose Aldo, who hasn't lost a fight in almost 10 years. And you know, I could keep going right down to Demetrius Johnson, who's fighting here Saturday night, who looks better every time he fights.
Can you speaking of stars, the face of the sport, like right now, essentially is Jon Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain?
And Ronda Rousey.
And Ronda Rousey, to agree.
Yep.
Much better looking than Jon
Yeah,
Jones.
yeah, I agree.
At least from my perspective.
I agree.
But can you explain your relationship with Jon Jones? Because it feels like it's a bit of a love-hate with the champ in the UFC.
No, you know, I think it comes off that way, that's the perception publicly, but behind the scenes, you know, we get it done. You know what I mean? We get it done. We've had our moments, no different than any other relationship or business relationship or partnership. You know, you have your moments with certain guys, but as long as the end result is Jones versus Gustafsson, Jones versus Cormier, you know, as long as you get it done, it doesn't really matter. It's all just business.
And we're going to see that fight in Toronto?
It's either going to be Toronto, Vegas, or Sweden.
Toronto, Vegas, or Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need like a three-headed coin or something?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those places. We're still trying to figure that out.
How is Canada as a market for you these days?
Amazing. Canada's always been a great market for us. Mm-hmm. You know, I look at places that you go as destinations. It's got to be a place that you want to go spend the weekend, a place that you can do other things. You can hang out and you can have fun. And, you know, there really isn't a city in Canada that we've gone to that isn't one of those type of places. Every hotel here is beautiful. The cities are clean. There's tons of great restaurants, great places to shop. Canada as a whole is one of the best countries for us to go to.
How's your relationship with GSP these days?
I have a good relationship. I just saw him in Berlin.
Is he coming back?
And, well, you know, he was coming back, and then he blew his ACL. So hard part for George St. Pierre is this sport is a crazy sport, man. Fighting is a young man's game. There's all these kids that are coming up now that are, you know, just getting better and better and better. And to take, you know, over 2 years off and try to come back into that nasty, you know, welterweight division, there's a lot of killers out there right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out with GSP.
UFC 174 Saturday night here in Vancouver at Rogers Arena. Look, you're one of the best salesmen in this sport.
Thank you, sir.
Sell it. UFC 174. For anybody trying to figure out why they should order it on pay-per-view or go to the event, why? You tell them.
Well, first and foremost, if you are watching this show right now and you have never been to a UFC event live, it is the most, I know you're hockey, you love hockey and you love your hockey. Well, there's no hockey up here right now. You know what I mean? So, it is the most exciting live sporting event you will ever see. I'm telling you, I know I sound biased, but trust me, it's amazing. You have to see it live. If you can't, the other great thing about the UFC is it's fun to watch on TV too, and or to watch in a bar with all your friends. And this weekend, we got a Canadian on there, Rory McDonald. He's the #2 ranked welterweight in the world, going up against knockout artist Tyrone Woodley. And obviously, if McDonald wins, it puts him in line now where he would be in line for a title shot. And Demetrius Johnson is probably the fastest athlete in mixed martial arts. Every time this guy fights, he looks better and better and better. He is the world champion. He is one of the pound-for-pound best in the world, and he is going in against Ali Baganatov, a tough, durable Russian with punch and power, knockout power. Andrei Arlovsky's on the card against Brendan Schaub, great heavyweight fight, and the list goes on and on. The card is packed. One thing about the UFC, even if we come into a town with names you've never heard the names before, we always deliver. We put on the best fights consistently.
Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Enjoy Vancouver this weekend.
Appreciate
UFC
it.
President Dana White joining us here on Connected.